Last time on Shadow Peace, the battle between the Yonta-Maria Grand Fleet and Impel Down came to an end. The forces of the world government were victorious. The Sin of Greed, Olympus, had died, but in his last moment, he managed to save his adoptive daughter Columbus. With the battle over, Magellan and Hannibal searched all of the Yonta-Maria ships for the road poneglyph the pirates had found, but much to their dissatisfaction, it was nowhere to be found. After all, Moria had already gotten it on the thriller bark. It was unclear how the highest figures of the world government would react to this partial failure of the mission, but at least they managed to murder one of the people close to deciphering the ancient language used on the poneglyphs. Our attention, however, is needed elsewhere, as this war is far from over, and two men were about to encounter each other. The air on Hachinosu Island was thick with tension and mist. Waves clashed violently against jagged cliffs, as if the ocean itself sensed the arrival of a storm far greater than weather. Atop a small raft that had just arrived at the shore of the Blackbeard Pirates' territory, Brachioel Mihawk stood motionless. The wind carried his coat like a dark banner, his gaze sharp and focused, as he used his observation haki to scout the entire island in an instant. In a matter of seconds, he managed to find what he came for. The only reason he would come to a place like this, where no sword fighters worthy of his attention were residing. Close to the massive stone skull of the island were the prison cells of the island. Inside, they kept her. He did not know why they had taken her. Perhaps it was bait, perhaps a message. But it didn't matter, she wasn't taken because of him, and from the rage he felt with his haki surge, he knew that he technically wasn't needed in this place anyways to rescue her. However, despite that, he had sailed through fleets, ignored pleas, and broken barriers for one reason: he was here to rescue her. He took one step forward and the earth trembled. A soft crunch broke the silence. "You are a difficult man to catch up to, Mihawk." The voice was calm, heavy, as though it bore the weight of the world. Mihawk's eyes narrowed as Admiral Fujitora approached, guided by the gentle tap of his cane sword on the rocky ground. But this wasn't the Fujitora he had seen just a few months ago. It wasn't yet public knowledge that Fujitora had regained his youth through mysterious circumstances, but Mihawk instantly recognized this version of him. After all, he had first battled against him when he was around that age. "I expected the Navy to come," Mihawk said, voiced like drawn steel. "But not like this." Fujitora stopped a few paces away. "A war rages. If a man of your caliber enters the battlefield, the scale tips. Drastically so. I came to stop that scale from shattering." Mihawk tilted his head. "So the Navy want this war to be balanced, so that both sides destroy each other?" "That was indeed the plan of the highest figure," Fujitora said softly. "However, ever since our arrival, both Sakazuki and I were certain that this wasn't the balanced war the Navy strategists made it out to be." A pause, then clang! Without a warning, Mihawk's blade, Yoru, the black sword of legend, sliced downwards. A pressure wave tore across the shore, shattering boulders and ripping through stone like parchment. Fujitora stood unmoving, his sword still sheathed. Boom! The force reached him and dispersed. Above him, the very sky bent, warping as invisible gravity forced the shockwave to flatten against the ground like crushed paper. A heartbeat. Mihawk's eyes glimmered. "Are you feeling confident enough that you can win this without taking out your blade?" "I have no wish to fight you," Fujitora said, his hands resting lightly on the hilt of his cane. "But I will, if you insist on going any further." Mihawk took a slow step forward. His presence cut through the world like a blade through silk. "They took someone dear to me," Mihawk said. "I will not let that stand." Fujitora's expression did not change. "This war has cost countless lives already. If your entrance causes one more to fall, even for a just reason, then justice loses all meaning." A bitter smile crosses Mihawk's lips. "You speak of justice like it's unchanging, but I've seen its face twist too often." In the past, Mihawk was known as the Marine Hunter, but despite that, he was asked to become a Warlord of the Sea, and it was not only because of his power, it was possible because of the thing he had just said. Justice is just the shield many Marines use to act like however they want, to make it seem like they are doing the right thing, but corruption was ever present. The only Marines Mihawk ever killed were the corrupt ones, the bad apples you could say. "Perhaps," Fujitora said, "but even if justice falters, we must carry its weight." Then without sound, Mihawk vanished. Fujitora turned slightly, blade halfway drawn already. Clash! Their weapons met mid-air, a shockwave radiating from the impact, like thunder rolling across the sky. Yoru's massive edge grated against the unseen blade of gravity. Sparks and pressure clashing as if two concepts, weightless precision and unmovable will, collided. Fujitora's feet slid backwards a bit, cracking the rock beneath him. "You would fight me," he said, pushing back with force that made the air ripple. "For one person?" Mihawk's voice came low. "For the right person, I would fight the world." They broke apart. Mihawk raised Yoru again, and black lightning crackled from its edges. The air warped, and an enormous flying slash cast a crescent through the sky, heading towards the giant skull in the distance. Fujitora's sword, fully drawn now, gravity screamed. The slash slowed, and then stopped mid-air, floating like a frozen memory. The Admiral lifted his free hand. "And forgive me for protecting the world from you." The floating slash crushed downward, redirected, and exploded against the mountainside far from them, vaporizing stone in a contained detonation. Dust, silence. Then Mihawk was already behind Fujitora, blade already swinging. Too late. A black orb of gravitational force enveloped the Admiral's back, catching the blade in a storm of collapse and drag. Mihawk grimaced, sliding backwards, boots scraping through stone. "You've improved, despite looking much younger." Fujitora's face softened. "No. I only learned the cost of what it means to not improve anymore." The cost Fujitora had to pay to reach this young form and even higher proficiency of his devil fruit was the death of a lot of people in the war against the Revolutionary Army. A moment passed, their blades lowered slightly. "I am not here to burn the world," Mihawk said. "I am here only to assure that she is safe before the real storm begins." Fujitora's expression was unreadable behind the faint scar crossing his blind eye. "A noble pursuit. However, I can't let you go just yet." That stopped Mihawk cold. Wind howled through the broken plateau. "I see," he said at last. "It seems like you saw a future that you want to avoid." He looked towards the giant skull. "Well, then you have to show me those new powers of yours, or I will ignore whatever vision you had." Fujitora exhaled slowly. The gravity around him began to ease, the floating dust settling like snow. "So be it. An exchange between the mightiest admiral and the world's strongest swordsman." Fujitora looked at his opponent. "Let's see if you are able to cut through the power of a man that has defeated a god." And this is the end of today's episode of Shadow Piece. Yes, you heard right. This is the next battle or encounter that we are going to take a look at. Fujitora versus Mihawk. Mihawk is still a big mystery. We had the flashback battle where he was in Elbaf for a bit, to give a bit more of a backstory for Tyr, who joined the new giant warrior pirates. And we also had the battle against the Revolutionary Army, where Fujitora fought against Morley and with a bit of a twist here and there regained his youth, and also managed to defeat Monkey D. Dragon together with Sakazuki. Monkey D. Dragon, the man who was once a user of one of the god devil fruits. So, how will this fight turn out? Will it even be a fight? How will the future of Shadow Piece develop? But for now, that's all from me for today. All that's to be said, stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro, out. Bye!